Hi Brennan, my name is Ron Shannon. I'm going to take you through our dog walking orientation today. Just follow me.
Okay.
Okay, step to your right. Here we go. Now we need you to sign in. Make sure that you have your volunteer badge and have it present at all times. So you're going to stick that on, and that way everybody knows you're a volunteer. By signing in, you let everybody know that you're here, so if there should be an emergency, we know who's in the building. It also makes it so that we can, get proper funding from charities, right? So the more volunteer hours we get from the community, the more willing people are to, give us funds for an ongoing program. Make sense?
Yep.
When you're up here, you're going to go ahead and grab your leash and get that ready. And then this key with the frisbee is going to be how you get into your rooms. So, and it has the frisbee, so we don't walk away with that, right? Make sense? All right. Follow me.
One I rescued from
To your left here.
a shelter. She's a Brussels refinement.
All right. So we're going to go and enter into the room. When entering in, go ahead and step back just a little bit. Stand right here. And look this way. So when entering into a room, what you may do is you need the key to get in. You're going to ignore the dog completely. Even coming up to the window here, you're not going to look. You're going to keep your chin up, right? Your shoulders square, and your hands kind of out of the way. So when we walk into the room, we're going to open the room just enough so we can fit through the doorway and walk directly towards the dog, right? And if we're not going to look at them, otherwise they'll jump up on us. We don't want to create excitement by talking to them. We'll be real quiet, right? So we'll go in and we'll just move around until they calm down. And if we have to move in a circle, that's what we'll do until they calm down before we leash them up. Does that make sense? So I'm going to open up the door and you can follow me in, okay? Walking right into the dog. Again, ignoring completely. We're not going to pay attention to the dog. And we're going to let all this excitement settle down, right? We don't look at them, talk to them, or touch them because we don't want them to jump up and bump us in the chin or get overzealous and, teach them bad behaviors. So once the dog, kind of calms down, that's when we'll go to leash him up. This may take a minute. When you're ready to leash the dog up, what you're going to do is, still not looking at them, crouch down and wait till the dog comes into you. Grabbing the collar from underneath and then flipping them off. Make sense? Then we'll adjust the collar so it's higher up on the neck. Getting our short lead and the grip that I use, I make a loop, put my pointer finger through, and just hold just like this, right? Having that collar high up on the neck, it gives you the ability to guide the dog. The other thing you want to make sure is that you put the other end of the leash through your hand. That's for security, right?
Yeah.
Now when we exit the room, we got to make sure that we know where we're going. If we turn to our left, there's dogs on our left. So it's called leash and cage guarding. If we put the dog out in front of us, then they're going to bark and growl and snap at the other dogs. So if I'm moving out to my left, I need to have the dog on my right.
Yeah.
Okay? So when we exit, we make sure that the dog's behind us. And we check before we go through the doorway, looking both ways. And then quickly move past the other dog. So that gives us an idea of how the dogs, that's leash guarding and cage guarding, right? So the reason why we move real quick like that is so we reduce the amount of stress that the dogs have. To get the dog to sit, we lift up on the head and touch the butt. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay? And you notice I have just a real short lead. All right. Now, going through a doorway, these doorways are steel, so you can't see what's on the other side. So you saw the behavior that she presented, so you want to make sure that you're not letting the dog go first. So I'm going to go back through here and peek first. Make sure there's nothing there. And then I'm going to put the dog on the appropriate side because the dogs are on my, right now, so I have to switch the dog to the other side. Make sense? Yeah. I picked the toughest of the dogs so we could see what that's like. And that's what we call leash guarding and cage guarding, and that's why we're going to move real quick. So we're going to go do this with another dog, and that just was to get us a start. When exiting, right, what you want to do is turn and face the dog to make sure that they don't follow you. So I'm going to have you go out behind me, just step back, I'll turn and face the dog, and if they go to come out, I'll touch my toe to the chest, just to stop the mind from moving forward. And let that door close. So you're going to open that door, turn the key, push it forward just a little bit, turn it so it unlocks, and use your foot to just prop the door. Go ahead, turn the other way. There it is. Okay, wait. And then let go of that. Let go of the key. Then you're going to open the door, just enough room for you to get through, walk right into the dog, and pass, keeping your hands up and out of the way. You coming in?
No, I'll stay on here.
Okay. Keeping your hands up out of the way, and not paying attention to the dog until they calm down. So you can see them out of your peripheral, right? Yeah. So you can see what they're doing. And because the dog's bouncing and getting all zealous, if you tried to put your leash on right now, it'd be real difficult, right?
Yeah.
So in order to get that leash on, the dog just sat for you. So we're going to crouch down, still kind of not looking, right? And get your buckle ready, right? And then when the dog comes into you, like it is with me, I can pet the chest, go ahead and pet the chest, and then grab onto the collar from underneath and clip it off. You can look down now. Watch so you don't clip the ear or anything. There you go. That's okay, take your time. Okay, now stand up. You want to make sure that you put your one hand through. There you go. Excellent. You don't need to wrap that around. In order to take care of the slack, just take it just like that. Now, go ahead and take a step forward. Stop right there. And you want your hand down a little bit lower. Let me show you. Make a loop. Stick your hand just flat like this. Put your pointer finger through. And then grab on. So that's your handle, okay? Now you want to keep that dog beside you, and then we're going to move quickly through, and we're going to go to our left.
Yeah.
So that we're not bugging the other dogs. Does it make sense?
Yep.
So when you go out, just walk directly down the hallway to the metal door. Here we go. Excellent, excellent. All right. Now, what are you going to do here is make sure you look through the door. There we go. Perfect. And go ahead and go through. Stop. Look at me. Okay. You always want to keep the dog on the side that your arm's on, right? And then as you're moving through the hallway, keep the dog beside you or behind you, not in front. We're going to move over to the next doorway. Head down here. Hold on one second. You good? Okay. And then just... Now the dog's a little bit hyper right now, so it's not listening real well. When we're going through this doorway, again, we're going to crack it open a hair, peek through, make sure nobody's there, right?
Yep.
And then we see no dogs, so now we can come through. Perfect. Again, stop at this doorway. This is where we collect our poop bags. So we'll come out here. Grab the appropriate poop bags, okay?
Yep.
We're going to go through this door the same way, keeping the dog behind you. So you get to the crease of the door. There you go. And then peek through, and then go ahead and go. Okay? Try not to let the dog go before you.
Yep.
Now we're going to come out here, take the dog to go to the bathroom. Okay? Now right in this gravel area is the potty area. So we take them in. And now you can let go of the lead. Make sure your hand's still wrapped around there. Good. Dog's going to the bathroom. Alright, once the dog's gone to the bathroom and they're not smelling anymore in this area, then we're going to start to take them on a walk. So shorten up your lead. And the grip's not important. You can wrap, turn and look at me. Turn your whole body and walk towards me. Right? There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, we're going to move over to this field and we're going to do what's called lunging. Okay?
Yep.
And what we're going to do is get the dog to be used to moving with you. So let me take the dog for a second so we can show you some proper technique, right?
Yep.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand next to the dog, put my loop, pointer finger through, make sure that my hands, that's my security, always have that,
Yes.
right? So the dog doesn't slip away from you. Relax my arms completely, right?
Okay.
And where they fall, I'm going to have 1 to 2 inches of slack. So if I just kind of turn or lift up, then I can, correct the dog's head, not the body. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So when we are ready to move with the dog, we're going to think about keeping our shoulders square to where we're going and our chin up, meaning not looking down at the dog.
Yep.
Leaders don't look at followers. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
So then when we move across here, we just move, calm and relax. And you notice the dog is right next to us.
Yes.
In horseback riding, what they call this is bitting a horse, keeping the head in one position, not allowing them to go down to the ground. So we're going to move over onto the grassy area. When we get into the grass, the dog will want to smell a little bit more, but we're only giving enough leash right here for the dog to lean down and smell. And while I'm showing you here what to do, you're allowed to look down. And it's not that you can't look at your dog, but we can feel them, right, when they move. We can see them out of our peripheral. If we're staring at them constantly, then they think that it's their job to take us and lead us. Does that make sense?
Yep.
To get a dog to sit, you lift up on the lead and touch the butt. Shh. Not every dog will do that for you. You got to understand the sensitivity of the dog. But you see how simple that was?
Yeah.
We just lift up and touch. So I get my grip, and what I'm going to do now is what we call, weaving the pylons. So we got all these metal pylons that are here, or concrete pylons, and we use that to get the dog to get better under our control, on our guide, right? I should say guide, not control. We want to guide an animal. We want to move together with them, right? So just follow me, and I'm going to have you go through this same exercise here in a moment. I just want you to see how it works first. So when we weave in and out of these, what happens is the dog's sight line is blocked, so they don't get fixated on something, and they're getting redirected all the time, so the dog learns to move with you. As I'm moving through these pylons, what I'm doing is relaxing my body. My grip is relaxed. I'm not trying to muscle. I'm trying to just have this dog, or what I'm, looking for the dog to succeed in moving with me, calm and relaxed. So, we ignore the environment. The dog should ignore the environment and pay attention to your lead. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So by moving through the pylons here, that helps them to kind of get under your guide. After we've done that, then what we're going to do is what's called lunging. We're going to come out into the open area, and we'll give the dog a little bit more lead. If they get in front of us, we just turn around. As soon as they are going the wrong direction, we move our body instead of trying to muscle the dog. You notice my upper body.
Yeah.
I'm not using any muscles. I'm just moving my legs, and it's like you're doing a dance. If the dog's really hyper excited, you can give the full amount of lead and just spin them around in a circle, right? So what we're doing is burning out that crazy energy. They want to get out here and run. So as they move one direction, we move the other.
Yeah.
Okay? When the dog starts to get tired, that's when we'll start to pull the leash in, right?
Yeah.
But notice again how my arm just flails back like this.
Yeah.
And then I just go where I go until he starts to burn some of that energy.
Yeah.
Now when I'm feeling that the dog's ready to move with me, I just shorten up the lead. Shh. And now we can start walking.
Yeah.
Right? Now the dog's calm and relaxed by our side. And the dog's job in a walk is to pay attention to you. To ignore the bike, car, kid, motorcycle, diesel engine, other dog, cats. Whatever is out there in the environment, their job is to just move in migration with you. And that burns 10 to 100 times more energy than if you let the dog smell everything. Teaches them to be good followers. Burns out the energy so when they go back into the shelter, they're tired and they relax. If we allow them to smell the ground, what we would think is being fun, it's like if I took you to Chuck E. Cheese and afterwards thinking that you were going to be calm and relaxed. You wouldn't be. You would be excited, right? You'd be jumping and having fun, right? Couldn't wait to go back and do that again. So it's not that we're taking something away from the dog. We're just putting good manners in place. If you ever see a pile of poop, you got to pick it up, even if it's not yours, right? Because we don't want to step in this the next time. Notice that the dog's sitting when I go down to get my poop, right? Every time you stop, you should have your dog sit. And this time, I didn't have to touch the dog or ask them to do anything. They just kind of followed through, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this and just throw it off to the side. We'll pick that up on our way back. Okay. So does that make sense on the walk? Now at this point, that's when we would go on our pattern walk, and we have maps and everything that dictate where to go in the neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to take you back to the beginning, and you'll try this for your first time. Keep your head through that other side of the door. No, pull forward. Just pull it. There you go. Make sure there's no other dogs. And then you're going to move to your left. Keep your head, no other dogs. Then go ahead and move through. Go ahead and stop. You got to put the dog on the other side so when you pace back, past,
So
you're not going
we
to...
can bring him back today. I think we have a shoreline open, and if not, he can probably.
Okay. And let it close behind you before you take the dog off the leash. Once the door's closed behind you, then you can take the dog off the leash and let them get some water. This is also the appropriate time for you to give affection, pet the dog, and say hi to it. So what we want to do is get small and let them come into us. Almost let them pet us rather than we pet them, right? So if they come into us, if a dog comes into you, typically they're not going to be aggressive towards you. If you go at them with your hand and not, staring at them with your hand to their face, then they get scared and can react, because this is our bite. We pick things up with our hands, dogs pick things up with their mouth. So they get scared by eye contact, hand to face, like this. So you notice when I did that, he starts mouthing. Makes sense? Where if I take my hands away, shh, then he doesn't mouth on it. If I come up underneath and pet his chest, you notice how he's not biting at me? He's just taking the pet. When we pet across the eyes, that's when a dog can tend to be a little bit more mouthy. That's why we go underneath, right? So this is the time where we give the, affection. If we would have come in when we first got to see this dog, started petting him, what do you think he'd be doing? Jumping all over us, bumping our heads, doing all that craziness, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now when exiting, what we're going to do is we're going to open the door, right? But we're going to turn and face the dog. And turn it down, face the door, right? Just like that. So, just to show you when the dog's coming out. So the dog looks like it's coming out. I'm going to touch my toe to its chest and back out. And it's called blocking. And I'll let that door close slowly while the dog stays in there. Make sense?
Yep.
Return your badge, return the leash to where it goes, and return the key where it goes. So,
Something about it. It's ammonia.
okay, and you have to sign out.
Yeah.
That goes right there, and you'll find your name and sign out.